Hi guys, I'm Redhead Joey,
And I am Maxon.
and welcome back to FutureSight. Today we're going to be covering the current Battle Road season, what we think could do well in it, and any changes that may come from the release of Dark Explorers. With that in mind, it's best if we actually cover the existing decks that have been topping the format currently. The four biggest decks at the moment seem to be Zekrom Eels, CMT, Terrakion in both its Mono and Terrakion and Friends variants, and Durant. So, starting with Zekrom Eels, Max, can you see any changes coming to this deck?
Other than the obvious, no. Obviously, everyone's going to start playing or teching Raikou into this build.
Yeah, that's a good point. There's the whole fact that Raikou, as we covered back in episode 2, it can actually be put in place of either Zekrom, can't it?
Mm.
I mean, mostly just for the fact that if you put Raikou in place of Zekrom X, you now have two attackers that can actually be loaded up at the exact same speed. Yeah, they both have the exact same energy cost, whereas the Zekrom X has this energy cost of 4 for its major attack. And you don't really want that slowing you down too much.
Yeah, but 150 is a pretty big number.
True, but you'll be exchanging that for the ability to actually take away any kind of engine they've left on the bench.
But I think Zekrom X probably has better survivability over Zekrom.
That is another good point. I mean, you could go for Zekrom X and Raikou X. I mean,
yeah.
With your if you see Zekrom X as your major attacker, Raikou X gives you the option to actually have more versatility, as opposed to having like the pure speed where like normal Zekrom and Raikou X would give you. You still have these huge hit points backing you up, but you don't actually have to worry about slowing down too much because Raikou is the same energy cost as the regular Zekrom.
Yeah.
He does miss out on the fact that Lowly isn't double colorless, compatible. So if you've ever found yourself with the normal Zekrom, needing to outrage, just to get some early game damage, even if it's not too much, you've still got a way to actually get the damage out there. With Raikou, you kind of lose that in exchange for having more survivability. Anything else you can think of before we move on to CMT?
For changes, not really. There's not a lot of electric support other than the big fat Raikou X.
Okay, then I think we'll just move on to CMT then.
Okay.
I think the most obvious thing to say for CMT is going to be Tornadus. Well, Tornadus X. I mean, it already runs the Skyra Bridge to give Celebi free retreats, and I'm assuming most lists run 4. You also have the double colors already included, and it just seems a bit daft to turn around and say, well, here's Tornadus, this guy that everyone wants him to donk. It's faster than ZPS ever was. And to turn around and say, well, we're not going to put Tornadus X in a deck that has a secondary form of energy acceleration. I mean, if you place Tornadus X into the CMT build, you've pretty much got a way of getting that 100 damage instead of 60 turn 1. And if not, you've at least got a secondary option to get the 60 damage.
That's
I think
pretty much everything to say about that.
Really? I was hoping you'd have more to elaborate on.
Well, it's really just, you can donk if you need to, or you can do 100 turn 1.
So really,
I don't think Mewtwo. I think Mewtwo needs 5 to do it, so it's better energy investment in that way.
True. 3 instead of 5 is a lot easier to get your hands on.
Yeah.
And the whole.
Sorry.
Oh
yeah, it's just a lot of the stage 2 decks at the moment. A lot of the basics are around that 60 HP mark.
So being able to get the 100 stage, you have to try and dig for a plus power. I guess the next thing to really do would be to move on to everyone's favourite deck then. And yep, I was hoping Max would jump in on that one.
Well, what's everyone's favourite deck?
Durant, of course. Oh, come on, everyone loves Durant. Even if they love to hate it, they love Durant. Really, I think there's only one thing to say about Durant, and I think it's the fact that a lot of people...
Heat more!
Yeah, heat more. A few players might be put off the actual idea of playing Durant just for the fact that he's now in format and it can be splashed anywhere. It's a basic. It requires colourless.
Yeah, but it's also the fact that will people bother to put this one Pokemon in for just one matchup? It would have to depend really how much Durant. It'd probably be see how much play Durant gets over the next couple of weeks or so. But if it's a top contender, then people will tech Heatmore. If it's not, people will just not run it at all. So it's one of those iffy things, really. To be honest, Heatmore does nothing if you're not playing against Durant.
True, it's kind of a dead card to have if you're not against the Durant matchup. It's the whole fact that, though, now that he's in format, a handful of Durant players are going to say, well, if I keep playing this, I risk seeing this guy. And if anyone comes from a Durant-heavy meta already, they will take one or possibly two for consistency, just to actually have an edge on their meta. It depends what happens first. Is it like everyone plays Durant still and people react by playing Heatmore? Or will Durant players suspect Heatmore to make an appearance, which means less people will play it, which means nobody will play Heatmore? Either way, Heatmore is going to be there as a deterrent factor. It'll either come into the game because it's needed, or it won't get played because it's no longer needed because everyone's already afraid of it.
I still think people still play Durant. I mean, until they see the deterrent, people actually teching it, then they'll probably just keep running it as normal.
True. And if the number of Durant decks stays as high as it is, then Heatmore will eventually get played.
I mean, how much HP does Heatmore have? It's like 90 or something?
I believe it's 90, if you bear with me just 2 seconds. Pokébeach go. Helpful little plug there for Pokébeach. It is 90 hit points, so it's searchable by level ball.
I'm just thinking, wouldn't Durant players just start using Rotom to KO it?
It's going to take a while for Rotom to KO it, doing that whole 20 damage.
Yeah, I'm just saying that.
And, Durant kind of thrives on the whole fact that, it doesn't like Train Lock, so it's not going to run Train Lock to stop people using.
Well, the other thing is that Durant could easily probably just start running some kind of tech to deal with it or something.
But then
they'd have to level up, but it's like,
Yeah, there is a fact that Durant can easily turn around and say, well, here's tech, you don't do anything to me anymore. Except for the small problem that kind of wrecks Durant's consistency. Durant is all about running the minimal Pokemon line just to guarantee that it'll only really have the 1 Rotom and the 4 Durant, just for the whole fact of being able to draw into it early game. Well, not early game, but for the start. They want to start with the Durant.
Well, there are a couple of Durant lists that we've seen that do run the Shaman EX, so it could be that might become a little more popular if Heatmore sees more play.
True. I mean, that would force people to actually have to try and facilitate its second attack then. But it's really, if the Shaman X comes into the active spots, then don't you just, retreat Heatmore and go with your standard strategy?
Yeah, the card called Catcher.
That too. But then again, Heatmore can turn around and say, well, Catcher as well. Just like, if Shaman X doesn't do what it's doing straight away, it's just brought out so you don't lose a Durant for a turn. Well, catch up Durant, kill. Catch up Durant, kill. You know what I'm saying? It is a deterrent. It's not perfect. Lists will have to give up some of that lightning fast consistency that they have to stop it, which means that other decks might actually stand a slightly increased chance, because they could learn. With Heatmore around in these less consistent lists, other decks could end up buying themselves an extra turn or two. And a number of times I've seen Durant matchups go to Durant will lose if it takes another turn or so. I mean, I've had that myself. I actually had it at our regionals. If I hadn't had the biggest hand possible and Pont in hand, I would have lost. And he only had 2 Durant in play at that point.
Well, it depends how bad matchups are. I mean, if people can beat Durant already, then I don't think they'll need to attack Heatmore.
True, but it's a case of being able to guarantee the win instead of hoping they can get it. As I said, it's a deterrent. It could affect the format, and I can see it lowering the number of Durant decks that get played just by being in the format. It won't stop Durant full out, but some Durant players will turn around and think, this is in format now, best run something else. Well, with all that said, I think we should move on to the last one of the big 4, and that's Terrakion. Does he gain or lose anything with the format? Well, with the Dark Explorer, sorry.
Well, no. Well, Mono Terrakion doesn't, because it's Mono Terrakion. But Terrakion and Friends obviously will. I mean, Groudon is looking to be like Terrakion's almost big brother, but without the flexibility of Terrakion.
I think it's got a bit more flexibility.
It does not have a 2 for 90 attack.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've always said that Terrakion has 2 moves. It's either attack for 90 or attack for 90. But Groudon has, additional flexibility in the fact that it can get some early game spread. So if, 2 Tromps from Groudon, and you've got, give me a sec. Anything with 110 hit points like Tornadus or, what's his name? Thundurus. You got those kind of guys. You're sitting on the bench. They're basically a revenge KO away from being knocked out.
Okay. I'm not quite so. It's just Terrakion. It's like the whole deck is just basically, revenge killing. And Groudon X really needs to actually pump 3 energy onto itself to actually start swinging for that same damage.
Well, to be honest, Giant Claw is more of a case of either like 10 less damage or 30 more damage. But the option to be able to actually hit for 120 could make it a worthwhile card in itself. Plus, it's a case of with Terrakion, you do have the whole fact that if Terrakion with 2 energy gets dragged active before something's knocked out, so your opponent can soften it up or something like that, you're stuck doing 30. At least Groudon can come in and say, oh, well, that 30 damage that was put down last turn, I can make use of that. I can hit you for 120 now. That's 150 damage total.
Yeah, but this sounds very situational now. I'm just saying, Terrakion's whole thing is just, revenge killing. And if Groudon X starts trying to be included in that, it's going to give up either 2 prizes or just sit there and do nothing. Where Terrakion's whole thing is, because it keeps revenge killing for 90, it's probably going to take out 1 or 2 X's along the way, and therefore win in the prize exchange.
True, that's a strong point there. Is there anything away from Groudon now?
What's a really help Terrakion?
Just anything that could be splashed alongside him.
Not that I can think of. Basic wise, not really. There's a reason it's called Mono Terrakion.
True, but there's 2 variants. There's Mono Terrakion and there's Terrakion and Friends. I think Terrakion and Friends might rely mostly on Landorus, actually.
Yeah. That's because Landorus adds consistency, really.
True, it does speed up the energy on field. I'm just going through the actual scans for this set now, trying to see if there's anything that goes with it. Possibly Tornadus X, actually, oddly enough.
I think you'd have to run a double course to really make advantage of that, and then again, you're not winning it anyway, so that seems to be taking consistency out the deck.
True. I'm just thinking for mirror match, just because Tornadus X, you get him active against Mono Terrakion. He's going to tank, and he's going to really give them a hard time.
I don't know. I don't think it really helps the deck too much, because I say different. Different obviously, because Tornadus X really needs the double course to actually start doing anything, where Terrakion can just solely work on fighting energy.
That's true. Is there anything colorless? No, there is not. Blast. So yeah, I think that's
unless people wanted to run a Dactyl in it or something. I don't know.
That's possible. I mean, take that 90, make it 100. It also gets around other, normal Tornadus and Tornadus X by making it so that the buffer they're doing equals nothing.
I don't think it will see play, but
yeah, it's an option. So yeah, I think that might be it for the top 4 right now. So basically we'll just move on to the new decks that could come out. I think we'll start in the most obvious place with being a dark set and move on to Zoroark and how it could actually affect the format. How could it make an impact? Personally, I do think it actually stands a good fighting chance in this new format.
Chance.
That's a dark one. We're doing the fighting guy next. I mean, the whole fact that it's stage 1, it requires just double colours to get out its major attack. And the fact that the Zorua that you can put under it has the ability to evolve himself turn 1. He also, very handily resists Mewtwo. So unless, you're up against CMT and they manage to get the 3 energy on Tornadus turn 1, you're pretty much safe from the donk. Even if you have a sluggish start, you won't be outputting much damage, but at least you're safe from the donk.
That's true. Well, depending on what you face, really. I mean, it's for stage 1 deck. It's really good just being able to actually get your stage 1 out on the first turn, which can help you avoid some donks. Thingamazork is going to be whether they play Collector or Dual Ball to try and fill your bench as fast as possible.
True. I'd actually go for a combination of both. Just to consistently always have that basic grabbing card. I don't know what balance I'd run. I know I'd definitely go for the maximum collector because it's a guaranteed 3. But I'm not sure on Dual Ball. I don't know if I'd put it at 2 or 3. I don't think I'd run 4/4 on both of them.
No.
Just because you don't want to get too much basic search like mid to late game, when you could really be drawing into something more helpful like, say, Capture or something like a Pont to refresh a bad hand or something like that. You really want to be able to just turn around and say, well, okay, options, go. Is that it for Zoroark? Actually, no,
because he has Darkrai X as well.
Oh yeah, true.
Oh yeah, that big guy.
Oh yeah, but I wasn't hoping to do a full deck analysis. I was just thinking how it would affect the format as a deck on the whole.
Well, it hits for stage 1 deck. It hits pretty hard. I mean, it can hit 120 with the new claw. So that's for double claws. That's
it's 140 with the new claw. Remember, it counts himself.
Yeah. So yeah, 140 with the claws. Good. Or 150 if you have a special dark.
Let's just say if you've gone for an all eggs one basket situation, then you're pretty much hitting 160. You're a plus power away from taking down something like a Mewtwo X or Raikou. But as I said, that's all eggs one basket really.
Yeah.
You probably invest the second energy. You'd probably invest the normal dark if you've not gone for a double colorless.
Yeah. But 9 times out of 10, you're probably using the double colorless, except for turn 1.
Well, you want to get the Ascension off Zorua.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, what I'm liking is actually the second attack. It's more of a pinch move than anything.
Very situational pinch move.
Well, yeah, but
in this format where things are hitting for over hundreds of damage.
True, but we've both seen that there are situations where 20 times the number of damage on him can work. You probably won't get the whole 180 off 9 times out of 10. But it is a case of if you're having a sluggish game, you can rely on the damage on Zoroark to probably outnumber the number of bench Pokemon you have. So you can still get an upper number. Even if you're struggling to fill your bench, you can still get some decent damage out there. As I said, it's a pinch move. It's back to the wall, you need to do something. At least you have that option.
Yeah, but as I say, if you're loading your Zoroarks up with double colors half the time, then I don't think it'll really happen.
Well, as you said, it is half the time. The other half, you're going to have the darkness energy on. I mean, we're hoping that the first Zoroark you have active is going to be with 2 darkness.
Yeah, but that's really the only time you're going to be able to use it.
It's going to be the other game where you will be struggling to set up. If you're struggling mid to late game, you've pretty much entered the scoop phase. Especially if you get into a late game, your opponent's taken, say, 4 prizes already, and you're struggling to fill your bench. Most likely in that situation, it is a case of you might as well go for the pinch move. And suddenly silence on Max's end.
I'm just saying it's not going to be very likely you're going to use the pinch move, and that's all I'll say on that.
No, it's not likely, but a pinch move isn't made for every day. It's there for if you need it. And it's the fact that he actually does have a decent pinch move. It's not a case of, well, I could use my main attack and do nothing, or it's the second attack that's even worse. There's a whole reason I don't look at it.
It's just the problem that as a pinch move, it's I could probably name 10 cards that are all used in this format now that are all going to do over 100 damage or 100 damage.
You really want to say 10?
I could probably name 10. Yeah.
If you hadn't like gone for 10, I would probably turn around and say do it. But I doubt you could get to 10 that could easily like wreck him in one shot. I mean,
Well, you have to
excluding
to
like.
fighting.
Okay, yes, maybe. So that's Terrakion, and the next guy we want to cover if we eventually get there.
Well, you've got Terrakion, the dragons, either the X's or the normal ones. That's like 5 already.
Well, yeah, but they're not here yet.
There's Raikou. No, I mean the bloody Reshiram and Reshiram X.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant the dragon type.
Yeah,
Not
that's,
the
that's like
dragon
5.
Pokemon.
There's like Raikou. There's Tornadus X. You know, that's like 7. That's all I can think off the top of my head. Have I made a point?
It's not 10 yet.
Okay.
Well,
there's
you said
this,
10.
There's this
Your
Mind
one said 10.
Show that does 30 plus 10. How about that?
Mind Show.
Oh,
Is it 10 for each damage? Isn't it?
Yes.
That's 8.
No.
Yeah, we'll call it quits there. I get what you're saying. They're out.
Ton of energy. Bad ball. There we go. This.
So what was number 9? I accidentally cut you off.
Got the tail. Maybe I can't even remember. I was just saying. The first 7 are cards that are actually played in format. I mean, like what else? I mean,
Well, the Reshiram and the X are kind of gone, but I'll still let you have them because they work. So
you know, there's like I mean, in your local, in the top decks, there's like a crap ton of things that do 100 damage.
in the top
if it gets
X, the
anything
Durant doesn't
fighting-
do 100 damage.
It could if it wanted to. Maybe.
I've seen it cap at about 70.
Oh, fuck it.
But it doesn't run the bus bows, but it might have the black belt.
Ugh.
I've seen that black belt run. It's an amazing tech, actually.
Well, they might check Shaman X. There you go. There's another one.
Yeah. Okay. Point made.
Yeah, thank you.
Can we move on to other guy now?
Said go. Yes, go.
Right. Well, okay. The second new deck I actually want to look at. I can't believe we're only on to the second.
Hold on. There you go. There's another one.
God damn it, Nappa.
And Thunderous. See, I'm smart.
Thunderous does 100?
Thunderous.
Right.
And since you know with echoed voice, that's like 50 plus 50.
Okay, yeah, point made. 100 possible. By the way, a lot of this is getting cut off because of talking over each other.
Hey.
I'm gonna have to figure out
I'm
what-
back to zone.
Who plays Magnezone?
Yeah.
Can we get past this
Backward.
argument? We've got like
Yes,
3
go.
things to go on to, and we're already up to like 20 odd minutes.
Fine, go.
Yay! Right, so the second deck I can finally cover that's going to enter the format is actually one that trumps Zoroark, and also something that Max didn't mention is Excadrill.
I didn't mention it because it was coming up, you see. There's the surprise factor.
Shazam! But anyway,
Damn.
I think I should let you actually take the Excadrill and hit its strengths, seeing as you've tested it a lot more than I have.
It hits Eels, and it hits Zoroark, and it can beat Durant. How is this a bad thing?
Fair. I just said it hits Eels, but it.
I mean, people already use. I've seen people using the Sableye with its. Well, I think what's it called? Hang on, I need to. It's like Junk Hunt. Something?
Junk Hunt, I believe.
Junk
Hunt. Yeah, Junk Hunt.
It hunts for your junk.
Junk in the trunk.
But yeah, people are using that, and Excadrill basically is that, but with more HP and probably less manageable energy cost, and it actually does damage with that as well. So, like against Eels, you can easily do. Well, that's his second attack. I mean, against Eels, you've got 2 options. His first attack snipes for 30 for a single fighting energy, which is really, really good against Eels.
Well, that's like Dynamo gone. I mean, basically, this Excadrill does turn around and say, "Oh, well, you're running Eels. I have 2 flavors of death for you."
Yeah, but and also like obviously with the second attack, the main thing you can do is go play catch out something, and then knock it out, and then get catcher back. I mean, like the one thing I do like, but I think we talked about a lot of this in the actual video. But I say Excadrill can beat Durant extremely easily, and it's just very weird. By playing Flower Shop Lady, Durant
Basically.
cannot mill your deck.
As long as you have the Pokemon and energy in your deck, in your discard, sorry, you will be actually putting a +2 on your deck every turn.
Exactly. Well,
So it's
eventually, like,
complete reverse mill.
I think late game, if it gets to that point, you can easily control the cards at this point, energy and Pokemon back in. So it's like, it's very, and you don't have to put 6 in at a time. You can put like 5 in or something.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is
a
that
case.
you can't win at that point.
I know. I mean, it's a case of, you know, even if they only like send like 4 in, you know, you can send those 4 back into your deck at any point. They can't really stop you from replenishing your deck.
Exactly.
The only downside to that is, you know, it stops you basically using Excadrill's full versatility. I mean, the whole fact that, you know, you can normally grab Catcher back, or if you've not got a supporter in hand, well, you can grab yourself Professor Oak or Juniper or Bianca if you're running it. You've got all of these, you know, it's basically, it makes everything in your deck, as I like to say, semi-searchable. Once it's used, it's yours. You can grab it at any point.
It's quite funny because it's like, if one gets knocked out, if you've got some free room to play, you can probably get like Excadrill cards back into your hand from the discard pile if you want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Or you could even run Defender and literally turn Excadrill into a Donphan.
You'd need 2 defenders to do that, but I do see where you're coming from.
Well, why do I need 2?
Defender attaches itself, so once you use it, you'd have to wait until the next turn to pick it up.
Well, when does it attach itself?
At the end of your turn, so it's after the attack. It'll come after your effect.
So, no, but you play it and then next turn you grab it back.
Well, yeah, but if you have 2, you are literally done.
Oh, alright, okay.
Because you attach one that gets discarded, attach the second, and pick up the first. So you just rotate those 2 instead of like being Donphan every other turn.
No wait, when does Defender detach itself?
Right at the end of your turn, literally after your attack resolves.
After the attack resolves.
Oh wait. Yeah, it would be your opponent's turn, but you'd be picking.
Yeah, so you can get it back every turn.
Well, yeah, except it would only go into your discard at the end of their turn. So you'd be picking it up this turn to play next turn. You still have a turn gap.
Oh right, I see. Yeah. Well,
yeah,
no,
you finally get it. There's a 1 turn gap between.
I think you mean when you initially play it. I'm talking about after you initially play it.
You're still not technically a complete Donphan. I say you need to cycle 2 to constantly have the buffer. You can buffer 20 every other turn that way. Trust me, I've done the numbers on it. The numbers are in my head. Anyway, I think we've like derailed ourselves here. We've gone from like how this actually affects the format to how to make Excadrill into Donphan. Although that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Well, like, yeah. What's the last bit we have to talk about? Empoleon.
Yeah, well, actually, I've got 2 down here, but we've already pretty much covered Tornadus and how it could be used. So, yeah, the last deck is actually our last episode, Empoleon. Now, when it comes to Empoleon, personally, I don't see it making a huge impact on the format. Mostly because, you know, as everyone could see, it's weak to the one of the best decks in format. It's like, why would you play something that's weak to something that's already winning everywhere?
I mean, it's still, as a card, it's still good. There's no denying that.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it is bad on its own. It's the fact that just this format doesn't suit it at all.
Well, it loses to one of the top decks. That's true. But I mean, like, it does well, kind of against CMT, kind of.
If it can get set up.
I mean, it's one of the few cards in format that can outplay Mewtwo pretty easily.
True, it does have that huge damage output, and it only requires 1 energy to use it. It's just the fact that CMT just has such a speed advantage over it.
Yeah.
And really, you don't dare attach that turn 1 Piplup. I mean, they need double colours, and they've got a donk because you attached. And to be honest,
they can just use Tornadus X now.
True, if they get the Tornadus X, it's even worse for you. And I don't really think attaching for Fury Attack is really worth it anyway. 1 water energy to flip 3 coins, and it's 10 for each heads.
But I think people will play it regardless. I mean, it probably needs testing to see if it has any chance in a EO format. I don't think it. I think it needs to have a chance. Give it a chance.
attack it from the side.
But I think eventually it's not. I think it's not going to do well on the long term, but people will try and play it.
Oh yeah, I mean, as I said, just like last episode, I can see it winning one Battle Roads, but I could see that Battle Roads being basically a Battle Roads that's mostly Empoleon. It's going to be a very heavy Empoleon format. Well, not format, meta for that Battle Roads, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and if it wins, then kudos to it. It's a win well earned, especially in this format, a format that just seems designed to stop it in its tracks.
Yeah, so, but it's a good car, but I don't think it'll go far, really.
I know. I love how this whole section has just turned into Empoleon. It won't win. It's a shame.
Well,
I mean, a lot of people.
I'm not going to stop people trying it. I mean, there's no harm in that. It's like when the top deck, or one of the top decks in the format, is this huge electric deck. I mean, especially now they've got Raikou. I mean, Raikou.
You can wreck your damage output as well as your mid game, as well as just stopping you in one attack, depending on where it wants to put its damage.
I mean, people can make the argument that Empoleon can, play catch up. Okay, that's fine. I'm okay with that, but you're not going to be. I mean, like if you knock out Anil, I don't think that's really going to, disrupt them too much if they've got like an attacker out.
True. I mean, when it comes to disrupting Eel, I mean, nothing does it better than what Excadrill does, where it doesn't have to, rely on the capture, and even if it did have to, it can grab that capture back constantly.
Well, yeah.
Empoleon doesn't have the option to turn around and say, well, I'm going to shut down your engine right away. It's a stage 2, it's going to be slower. It just, I don't see it having the speed to shut down Zekrom-Eels. And even if it can...
It still has its ability. I mean, that's a good ability.
For what anything that draws cards is a brilliant card in my book, really. Especially if it's something that says, well, I'll send this card to be junk harmed later.
But I'd say in this current format with so much electric support, I just don't think it's going to go very far.
It's a shame, really, because a lot of people do want to see it do well, just for the whole nostalgia factor and the fact it reminds them of the Jumpluff.
Yeah, but I want a GG deck, but it's not going to happen.
But a GG deck could be very possible. It's just we've not got a Gardevoir and a Gallade format yet.
We do have a Gardevoir. Came out like ages ago.
Yeah, but we don't have a Gallade with it. I did say Gardevoir and a Gallade.
Well, what you should have said is we don't have a Gallade in format.
Well, yeah, but I wanted to say both because they go together. That is what G and G is.
Also, the second until we get a Gardevoir that says your opponent can't use power or abilities, then I'll be happy.
Yeah, but now we're just basically going into Max N's personal fanfic of Pokemon here, aren't we?
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I don't think there's any other decks we need to talk about. I mean, is there anything else even worthwhile talking about?
Well, as I've said, Tornadus, but we covered that in CMT.
Well, Tornadus isn't really going to be its own deck. At least I don't see it as its own deck.
Oh, it could be its own deck. It'll do better.
It could, but then it'll turn into Empoleon, but worse.
True.
Because, like, instead of taking one prize, it'll be taking 2 prizes, and that helps out.
True. Well, all I can think is possibly, a deck you've wanted to see work. I mean, we've seen the half deck for it work, but we've never actually seen the whole deck work. And that's the Cofagrius.
Yeah, but I don't think that's not really a Tornadus deck, really.
No, I'm not about Tornadus. I'm just thinking potential decks. But I can't see really anyone going for Cofagrius. I mean,
it's pretty weak with damage output.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, it can one-shot Mewtwo.
It's crazy.
With the DCE, which is kind of cool. But it's. I mean, I suppose you've got other Cofagri to run with it. I suppose there's one thing we haven't talked about, and that's the decks that lose power with the new decks coming out.
Well, we can put that under like one huge umbrella, and that's just basically Trainhawk.
Well, yeah, specifically Truth variants.
Well, yeah, now that Raikou's around, it's a case of, Vileplume is easily 2 shots.
Reuniclus is
1 shot. So it's basically, you can't really maintain Trainlock with Raikou in format, and you can't tank with Raikou in format.
No, I mean, especially with Raikou's very flexible retreat cost.
Very flexible. It's pretty much doubled over on itself. It's that fast.
I know.
It's like, what? I've got 1. Skyro, 3. Yes. You don't really need anything else.
No. But it's just the fact. Is there anything else that really goes down? I mean.
Well, no, I don't think I can think of anything.
I'd like to see if people would try Cake with the new cards, if that would change anything. That seems just to be at the face of the planet for some reason.
Yeah, that's what I loved about Cake. Everyone over here started playing it because it was perfect Mewtwo Celebi counter. We get Mewtwo Celebi and Cake vanishes completely. It's like, well, we've got the deck that this deck counters. Let's play the countered deck.
It's quite obvious that he ate all the cake, and that is why it is gone.
Oh, so that's why you've been packing those love handles recently.
Oh yeah.
Yes, I went there. Even though it's not an ounce of fat on you, you scrawny man.
Yeah.
You and your steak.
Steak. But yeah, I mean, Cake vanished for no reason. Maybe it lost against some key matchups or something. I don't know.
I didn't see anything other than Tyram. I didn't see anything really countering it.
I mean, with Kyurem, maybe because the X's came up, but surely Kyurem was a pretty strong matchup against Eels and CMT. Maybe it was Durant it lost to because it got pretty popular. I don't know, but
that could be it actually. Just the whole fact.
I'm pretty sure someone will tell me why it lost, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's so obvious.
Yeah, I think you nailed it on the head right there with Durant and the whole fact that, well, you're milling 7 cards off your deck for your energy acceleration.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think we've kind of trailed off a bit, so might as well wrap it up here.
Okay.
Well, until next time, I've been Rata Joey.
And I am Maxon.
If you like what you've heard, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, stay in the top %.